One of the questions we get asked the very most is, do you have a therapist you can recommend for me? And while we wish that we knew of therapists in every single place, in every single part of the country, we don't. So what do we tell them instead, Mel?
We say check out BetterHelp because it's online, it's at a reasonable price, and you can be matched with a therapist within 24 hours. I've also used them, and they have been great. And if you don't like your therapist, guess what? Click, and get a new one.
Absolutely. It's so hard when you have an in-person therapist, if you're not clicking with them, to cut them off and get a new one. So that's not an issue with BetterHelp. So we always tell people to try BetterHelp. And if you use our promo code, which is
trybetterhelp.com/WWDN,
you get 10% off your first month.
Go ahead and try it out. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN. And you know what? I'm a big fan of doing therapy where you don't have to wear pants, but nobody knows about it.
Are you wearing pants right now, Mel?
I'll see you later. Bye. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Well, I'm Anita. It's been so long since we've seen each other. You've been kind of like, what's the right word? In witness protection? Not really, guys. She's not really in witness protection. But you might have noticed, audience, that we've been kind of MIA or kind of differently IA, differently in action. Yeah, and that's
a story for another day, probably, but it's pertinent.
A story. Yeah. Let's just say that Mel has alluded to it in a few past episodes, very briefly, and it involves the criminal justice system, and it can't be talked about. So, but it's also been very, very stressful, and it's also provided me with some of the most boring entertainment of my life. And I hope that one day we will be able to share more of the details of that. But for now, all I can say is small cow.
Yes. It's so cryptic, and one day, maybe, some people will know, or maybe not. For right now, I'm alive, and that's about it. So it's the new year. Did you know that?
I sure did. Yeah, I celebrated it here with 5 of my best 14-year-old friends.
Wow, that is something.
It was something. I was like, can you please leave my house? And they did not.
Here's one thing that I learned from you this last week is JNCO jeans are a thing again.
Oh my heavens, Mel. You don't. Okay, you guys. So my 14-year-old, the one I spent New Year's with, he got some money for Christmas and he wants to buy some JNCO jeans, which are a thing again. I don't remember them the first time around because I guess I wasn't that cool. He got on Depop and bought a pair of JNCO jeans, and they came, and they are the worst. What is it called when it's not the real thing?
Knockoffs.
Worst knockoff ever. I was laughing so hard because on the real jeans, they come, I'm going to try and explain this so you understand. They come with a cardboard tag on the back pocket that's like 8 inches long, and it says all of these things on it, and it's very fancy. Well, these knockoffs had taken a picture of the back of the jeans, and they had screen printed whatever they saw on that photo onto the back of the jeans. So they screen printed that 8-inch tag onto the back pocket.
Okay.
And he is so mad and sad about it. I'm like, yes, you got scammed. And they're so bad, but they're funnily bad. And then they have a tag that says, for well, if fell, the is fashion for.
That's actually worth the money, getting that.
Oh my goodness. Yep. So,
are JNCO jeans still being produced? I mean, real ones.
yes.
All I remember from those are
I don't know now.
Okay. All I can remember from from our day with JNCO jeans is the legs were like each 36 inches wide. That's all I remember. And they were so big. And all I remember was skaters wore them, or skaters' girlfriends.
Yes. They're not all quite so big, but they are still like cartoon pants. So, yay.
Okay. Well, did he pay a lot of money to get scammed?
He did. Luckily, Depop has like if it's not what it was explained to be, you can get your money back or whatever. So he's in the process of getting his money back, but the kid ordered another pair and they haven't shipped in forever. I'm like, you got scammed again. And then he says, Mom, I found another one. I'm like, listen, how many times are we going to do this before you just say, actually, this isn't a good idea? These are life lessons that we're learning right now. So
what is Depop?
it's like a marketplace where you sell your stuff.
It's like Poshmark and Facebook Marketplace. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which Facebook Marketplace, Mel, was an integral part of a spooky week for me.
Really?
Yes. Do you want to hear about it? Mm-hmm. Okay. This has been, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks that this happened. I had 6 spooky, well, not spooky, but 6 widow encounters, new people in 1 week. It was wild. And one of them had a Facebook Marketplace weird thing that happened. And I'm going to tell you that story now. Okay. So this was encounter number 3. The same son has been trying to sell a different pair of pants, probably JNCOs. It's very popular for this age group. They like to thrift, they like to buy, they like to sell. It's very popular right now. So he asks me if he can sell these pants on Facebook Marketplace. And I said yes, but the problem with that is it means that I am the one who has to field all of the incoming and outgoing messages, which is just a nightmare, right? So many messages from so many people who are not real people. And then so many people who, is this still available? Yes. Are you interested? No. Just like ridiculous things. Or, hey, will you deliver these to me? Where do you live? 3 hours south? No, I'm not going to deliver them. Just like so frustrating. And I'm just like, I wish I had not agreed to this because I don't want to do this anymore. Well, I get a message from a lady and she says, hey, can I meet you? I want to buy this pair of pants. And by this time, I have no faith that anything is actually going to happen. And I say, yeah, let's meet at the police station in my city. And she's like, I don't know where that is. Can we meet at this other place? Which I thought was odd. Like, you can Google it. It's not like the police station is a secret place, It's not like a speakeasy. But I agree.
Know that.
That would be the best cover. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I agree to meet her. I take my son. We meet at the place. She shows up. The exchange is made. She buys the pair of pants. It's one of like 4 pairs that he's selling. And I'm like, wow, I did not expect that to actually happen. Go home. I get another message from this same lady. Hey, can you meet me tomorrow at the same place? I want to buy another pair of those jeans. And I'm like, I'm pulling a grumpy face at Mel right now, an annoyed face. Like, couldn't we have done this in the same interaction/transaction? But I agree. And I have to go without my son this time because the only time she could meet is during school. So I show up. She gets out of the car. And she takes the jeans. She gives me the money. And then she says, hey, I'm a mutual friend with somebody of yours, And I said, oh, who is it? And she told me their name. And I was like, oh, my goodness, I love her. I grew up with her. She's such a fun lady, just love that person. And the lady is getting back into her car and she pauses and she says, her husband just had a seizure and got in the car and drove away. And I was just like, what? Oh, okay. That was weird. Yeah, I was just like, I don't know what to make of that. That was such a weird, the whole thing was weird. All my interactions with her were weird. So I think to myself, well, I need to check in with her and find out what's going on. But also realizing that sometimes when people are in distress, they don't need a lot of people being like, hey, what's going on? What's up? I heard you were having problems. Anyway, So keeping that in mind. So the next morning, I was supposed to go to a workout class. I go to a 6 a.m. weight class at the local gym, and I was supposed to go with my friend. And my friend texted me early in the morning. My phone is on do not disturb until like my kids are off to school. So my friend had texted in the middle of the night and said, hey, one of my kids has an ear infection. I'm not going to be able to come. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll just have to drive myself, whatever. So I get ready. I get in the car. I'm pulling out of the driveway and I think to myself, I should just let her know that I saw her message. So I pull my phone out and I open it and I look at the screen at the exact time that this friend, who was the mutual friend whose husband had the seizure, sends me a text message, which I would not have seen except for at that very second that I looked at my phone. And it just said, Anita, I need you, exclamation point. And I was like, holy crap. I didn't have to ask her why. I just said, send me your address. And instead of going to the gym, I drove to her house. And her husband had had a seizure. And I was like, that pants lady was my messenger. She came to tell me so that I didn't have to say, what's going on? What's the matter? Why do you need me? I was like, I know exactly why you need me, because that weird pants lady prepared me to know.
A heavenly messenger in a strange form.
Seriously. Like I felt like goosebumps, like chills. And I just drove to her house and her husband had had a seizure, was without oxygen. He ended up passing away. And so now I was right there just to, I mean, as much as you can be there for her during that little interaction and continuing. Anyway, there was other things that happened that week too, but that was the Facebook pants lady story. Oh, and I told my friend about the pants lady and she goes, oh, that's weird. She doesn't even have kids.
She just wanted the JNCO jeans for herself.
There was a kid in the back of her car. So either she kidnapped somebody.
Was there an Amber Alert on the freeway?
I don't know.
This is weird.
Super weird, right?
The world works in mysterious ways. Wow. We call this synchro swimming. Yes. This happens fairly often to me and Anita. And I think since the whole last year and a half or so, I've been in my own super heavy trauma. It's happened more to Anita a lot, actually. Like you've had quite a few things like this.
6 times in 1 week.
So even when I haven't been able to be receptive to those things, she's had a lot. Like a lot has funneled through you. So I think this is really interesting in how the cosmos or the gods or the universe or the energy works. It's like people need help and the right channels. Like there's always a channel.
Yes.
Interesting.
And then I had another one at the end of the week, and I don't want to tell the whole story because I think we'll have a chance to another time, but I'm just going to say it involves the show Hawaii Five-0.
No. Oh, did you know I've watched that show for the first time this year?
Have you? Well, there was another like super widow connection that happened because of that. So, and I want to share that at a different time. I think we'll have the chance.
That was a good little predecessor.
Yes. Okay. So we had Christmas. Mel, you're just like underground. So did you even celebrate Christmas?
Hey guys, just checking in and want to say if you are enjoying this podcast
and you want to see it keep going, maybe it's helped you through your widowhood journey and you think that it might help others on their widowhood journey, you can support that cause by joining our Patreon.
Some of the things that you get as a Patreon beneficiary are ad-free episodes, so you don't have to hear ads like this.
You also get exclusive content, and at a certain level, you might also get an exclusive t-shirt you can only get that place.
That is true. It's pretty cool. There are 4 different tiers available, so check it out. It's patreon.com/WWDN.
And as an extra bonus, very often you get your names read by one of my kids, and they will do a terrible job with the pronunciation. And that's like a bonus, I think.
I think it's kind of the best. I would much rather hear somebody butcher my name than say it correctly.
A child butcher it than an adult do it correctly. Yep. So go to patreon.com/WWDN to keep our podcast going and support the widowed cause.
Yes. Thanks, guys. Back to our regularly scheduled program. No, I did not. I think the day came and went. I don't remember a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had to write down some stuff for our episode today so that I could remember some good things that happened this year in the midst of all that's been going on. So that's kind of what I am here prepared to do. But if you have stuff you would like to say for Christmas, we can totally talk about your Christmas. Did you do stuff?
Christmas was actually really good for us. So that's all. I also just wanted to say, like, a huge thank you to everybody who contributed to our little Adopt a Widow fund. We were able to help several widowed families with a little bit of money to help their holidays be a little bit better. So you guys are just good human beings. And thank you so much for doing that.
Yes, thank you. I've seen the donations that have come in and gone out, and it's so heartwarming, not to be cliche, but there's a lot of people struggling and a lot of people who have good hearts and want to give even though they are struggling as well. So yeah, thank you to everybody. And we're really grateful for our widow community, because without that, we wouldn't all be here trying to fight the good fight and just live another day, I guess.
Fight the mediocre fight.
Yeah. Fight the neutral fight and sometimes the disastrous fight.
Yeah.
So, Anita.
What?
It's January 5th. Doesn't that mean that, like, you've recently had a death anniversary? A couple death anniversaries? And I have too.
Yes, I know, since we last talked, because it's been a while since we've just talked to each other, hasn't it? Yeah, we had, it was the 6th death anniversary a couple days ago, and I really didn't want to acknowledge it in any way.
Yeah, I feel you.
I mean, it sometimes just gets to be kind of like tiring, I guess, to like go back to that. And ironically, my kids are old enough now that they understand how calendars work, and so it used to be that they just don't know what day any day is. And so it used to be that you could just not tell them and they wouldn't know that it was January 3rd because they have no concept of space or time. But now they're old enough that they kind of can keep track of that. And so at the same time, they know it's Dad's death anniversary, it has less emotion because it's been longer. So it's kind of an interesting place where we are. But I decided that I didn't want to have like a sad day, I guess, or a day where you're like, Dad is dead, So I was like, let's go do something fun. And so we did. We went and had a fun family activity, and they yelled at each other. And so that was, pretty perfect. And went out and had dinner and kind of didn't really address it as doing it because of the death day. I've just kind of thought that I want to change it into a day that they can look forward to and that we're going to do something fun as a family. So
I like that.
Yeah. And also my strategy has changed every single year. And so it probably will next year too.
I hit Scott's 7th death anniversary in November.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a thing. I didn't post. I don't even think I got online because I've also been kind of off radar with any social media as well. And I remember thinking, this is interesting because I felt this big push to have him remembered for several years. But then I run out of pictures and it's almost like, what do you say after that? It's good to say, this was a great human. We miss you. But sometimes, nobody can tell in the spirit of how you're saying it. And I didn't want to have a lot of, oh, I'm so sorry. Because I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be and if I write the words, we celebrate him and let's be better, in our lives because of people like Scott. I don't want the pity part, even though, yeah, it is sad. So I chose, because of that and because of other really hard stuff that I'm going through, just to not say anything. And I think it was okay. And I don't think his family felt slighted. I don't, they're great and everybody's doing okay. So yeah, it came and it went, and 7 years has been there. And then my dad's, is it his 3rd death anniversary? My dad's always confuses me because it happened, he fell on New Year's Day, but died overnight to the second day of the year. But since the year had just changed from one year to the next, I'm not sure. I think he died January 2nd, 2022. So that means it would have been 3 years. Does that sound right
Yes.
to you?
I think that sounds like there's like steam coming out of both of our ears right now.
This is so ridiculous. I have to pull up the obituary to see because it was so confusing. It was a sudden death and so shocking, and then a year change and then a day change.
Yeah. Yeah. I also did not do any posts or like bring attention to the day. I kind of wanted to just hide from it all and not make it about that day. What say ye? What was the year?
Okay, the internet says it is 2022. So the third death anniversary of my dad's accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your sister.
She's coming up. Yeah. January can go straight to jail.
Yeah. What day is that in January?
The 28th is the coming up day. But she was also like very sick throughout this time. So there's like, and I think that my brother-in-law is probably going through that. You know, after like on the first anniversary, you replay everything coming up to the day that they died. Like this day we were doing this and this is what was happening there. And it's like that really intense lead up to the first anniversary. I think that's probably going on for him. And there's a lot going on because there was, talks of surgeries and hospitalizations and just like, a lot of crazy stuff. So
it's so interesting that the story you mentioned before about the weird pants lady and then the text like gave you chills.
Yeah.
When it happened, because I had that same experience in that feeling when your sister died, because it was that same thing where I pulled up in my driveway.
Happened in quotation marks.
I happened to drive home at the exact time and look up the street like I don't normally look up the street, and I saw things, and then because of that, then I was there, and it just felt like your right place, right time to do one thing, and and it's almost like this. That's a weird word. Almost like a little holy experience.
It kind of is.
Because I was like, because of the aftermath of it, like with your sister, and then me being the one to tell you to come.
Yeah.
Those two things, I was like, I don't know if I'm helpful in this situation, but I think it helped in a little way in something that was so horrible for all of you guys. So it's chills. So listen to, I don't know, for those of you who are, sometimes you get an inkling to reach out to someone or to check your phone, or maybe there's a mistake and you think the mistake that has happened at that time has ruined your day, but then you find out later that it might put you in a place to help someone else. Like, pay attention to those and write them down. It's really important, and it's interesting how the community of the spiritual networks work, I think.
Yeah, or whatever is happening. It's just like, it's wild. I'm curious, Mel, because you've had like such an intense last few months and year. What, like, has anything good happened to you this year, or has it all been?
Anita, I hear we have a store.
Oh, we sure do. We've actually had it for quite a while. It's called the Snarky Grief Shop, and it's where you will find all of our best grief merch. That is, yes, a little snarky. For instance, it's where you will find the official widow card that you can pull and use at your convenience.
You can put it in your wallet, and anytime you need to use it, pull it out, play the widow card.
Yeah, we have glow-in-the-dark stickers. We have shirts that say, "Be nice, my husband is dead." We also have the ones that are not quite as jarring, so that you can wear them out in public and not feel weird. But sometimes you need that shirt.
I wear my "Be nice, my husband is dead" to bed because I'm a little scared to go in public with it. But you've worn it on airplanes before with your kids.
Yeah, every time we go to the airport, I wear that shirt because I'm just like, listen, I got to get all these kids through security. Just be nice to me. Thank you so much. And it's worked for the most part.
Some of the less snarky grief shirts are podcast shirts or Widow Wives Club. We also have Resilient AF, right, Anita? What else we got in there?
Yeah, which we're telling everybody who cares, like Mel's mom, that means American Fork. because she can't know what it really means, guys.
Yeah.
Stickers and mugs and notebooks and just cool stuff that you can use to express your snarky grief. You'll find it by going to our website, shop.widowwedonow.com. There's a lot of W's in there, so just make sure that you've counted them and there's the right number.
We will link to that in the show notes, and it's also in our app, which you can get from the App Store. Can people get it from our regular website too?
Yes, if you go to widowwedonow.com, there's a link for the shop in there too.
Great. If you'd like to show your snark or have something a little more subtle, go ahead and check that out. Again, that's
shop.widowwedonow.com. Bad.
I've written it down because I had to remember. Here is my list of good things that has happened to me in 2024. Starting with the most recent.
Cheese.
I do love cheese. I ate a lot of cheese. I guess next most important is...
That was not on her list, you guys.
That was a yes and moment. I got to see our friend, the esteemed widow Rabbi Maya Glasser.
I'm super jealous.
Recently. And that was so lovely. I love her so much. I love hearing about her life and philosophy and just seeing her and being around her as a person. And so that brought joy and happiness to my heart. And before I saw her, I listened to her episode that we recorded with her a couple of years ago just to remember all of the ins and outs of what she shared. And it's unbelievable what some of us have been through. Hers is really insane with Judaism and death, and then the logistics that her family was in with trying to get everything going, and then her having just moved to the new location where she was assigned. So it was really fun to see her and then to know where she had come from a few years ago. So that was really, really a nice moment. The next nice moment or event, I don't know what you call it, would be I got to play. I've done this before, but maybe not in this capacity. One of my friends runs the Salt Lake City Mass Choir, and that's a gospel band, like Black church gospel. And I get to be the B3 player in it, the organ player. So I'm the one that's like, rah! With the loud organ, like the hallelujah stuff. And that's been a great honor of my life because I'm the only white person in the band. And so I was like, are you sure you want me in here? He's like, yes. And it went really well. And everybody was so great and welcoming to me. And they're amazing players, amazing singers. And we did a Christmas service just for fun. And it went so nice. And it was just good to kind of have more of that in Salt Lake City because there's not a lot of gospel music in Salt Lake. So that brought a nice element, I think, to the community and to my life. And it was kind of fun to learn with others who have different styles of learning. Because I grew up reading music and then eventually switched to learning chords and playing by ear. But I didn't grow up in like Baptist Kojic churches where everything is by ear. And so even the way that the musicians pass information to each other, even though I know jazz lingo and jazz chords, it's still totally different.
Is it through winks?
I swear it is through magic. Like there's this vernacular that we all know and the sounds that we all know. But then there's this part where you're like, yep, I didn't grow up in the same church that they did with that immersed, since they were 3 years old, and they have that magic where they just know what to do. So I love learning from them and it's so fun. Greatest musicians on the planet. Then the next thing, this is actually pretty epic. This happened within a month ago. I was able to play on Irving Berlin's transposing piano.
Okay, you got to pause because you assume everybody knows who Irving Berlin is. Who is that? Why is it special?
Okay, if you've heard of the movie White Christmas, then you know who Irving Berlin is in a way. He was the composer that did all of the music for that. And he wrote White Christmas. He wrote sisters, sister. You know,
Never
you could. Yeah, he was one of. I think he was Russian Jewish descent. A lot of those really great American. It's funny, great American songbook composers. They have a Jewish background coming over from Russia and Poland. It's really interesting. So the Gershwins, they all were Jewish that came over, like first generation, and same with Irving Berlin. And they just
So like
wrote
a super iconic American songwriter.
yes,
Yeah.
the guy that wrote White Christmas. I got to play. He had 3 pianos. He had 3 daughters, and 3 of these pianos he had made for him. And he gave a piano to each of the daughters. One daughter gifted them to the foundation where I go and work with kids or help with American songbook stuff. And the way it works is, and I think it had to have been made in the 40s or something. One's in the Smithsonian, one's somewhere else, like in Belgium or something, where they entered and then crossed to the United States, and then the other one is now in Indiana at this place. So the way the piano works is you push the middle pedal down, and then he has this huge lever. They called it a clutch. He called it his Buick, and then you physically pull this lever, and all the keys go up and shift, and then you can move it to whatever key you want. So that's basically, now synthesizers can do that, but this was an actual piano. So
That's wild.
I got to play White Christmas on the piano that Irving Berlin had. And that, like, nobody gets to say that. Oh, the last thing, I, for the first time, watched the movie The Godfather. I've never seen it. I decided to watch it.
I've never seen it either.
It was good. Now I got to watch Godfather too.
Was it stressful? I feel like that would be a stressful movie.
I don't know. Anita, we've been through death and hell. No, there's death. You know, there's some bloody stuff in there, but it wasn't stressful for me. So maybe you should watch it and see what you think.
Okay.
I forgot this one. I had my first professional bass gig this year. During Halloween, I got to play bass on a Halloween show. So
Wait, at a witches convention.
Yes.
I mean, that's important.
It's called Witchapalooza. So those are my things that happened this year amid all of the really difficult stuff, which has kind of caused me to go off radar with life. So I'm going to choose to celebrate those things. And thanks for asking.
You're so welcome. Yes.
Have you thought about anything over the past year, 2024, that's been good?
Yeah. I mean, I went through all my pictures and looked at all the cool stuff we've done this year. And I'm like, never did I think that we would just be living a life that was good. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not easy. It's still hard. I just, for the love, I wish my kids would stop fighting with each other. I sent Mel the best video on Christmas morning.
Oh, yeah.
It was like my kids opening presents and they're like being such jerks to each other. And I'm in the background and I'm like, I'm recording this, guys. Like, oh, great. This is our Christmas representation.
That was my favorite part. We're like, yeah, that's great. This is on film now forever.
But we did a lot of fun things this year. It was a pretty epic year. And one of the cool things that happened was I counted at least 6 Widow in the Wild encounters where we met up with people. Like you had your just Maya encounter. We had encounters, either the both of us or I was able to see a few widows when we were out and about doing other things. And so that's always fun. And you know what else is so cool? I was kind of thinking about this when you were talking about playing with the choir, is that this podcast and the Facebook group has really opened my eyes a little bit, not a little bit, quite a bit. There's just so many people from all walks of life that we've been able to interact with that it's been a really, what is the word I'm trying to think of? My brain doesn't work, Mel.
Same.
When you build
Potatoes.
No, it's not potatoes. Edifying. Like it's just been a building experience for me. I just think about, you grew up in the same place, a fairly homogenous culture, and being able to get to know so many people who are experiencing grief through so many different lenses, religious, non-religious, long-term death, short-term death, socioeconomic statuses, race, ethnicity. It's been really cool to kind of broaden my experience base and to learn different ways to do it than I would have ever before. So,
It's interesting talking about something similar to that. There's been something about gospel music. It's always spoken to me, and I couldn't put my finger on what it was. I mean, this was like when I was young, 9 years old. Okay, like Sister Act came out. That was my first exposure to any sort of song that was like that, right? Because we are from Utah, where there was a lot of choral, regular choral, like
Tabernacle choir, baby.
Tabernacle choir. And there's always something that I felt, but as I've gone through life more, and I'm able to put words to it or feelings to it and meet the people, I know what it is. It's the suffering that has gone through the generations of people, specifically Black Americans. You feel it in their music, and you feel it as in the community when they're all singing together and singing praise and singing messages of we can do this. And I know that sounds a little bit kind of trite. I just don't know how to put it into words, but I feel it in my bones, the suffering, that they have had so much suffering. And it makes sense to me that in my own grief, which is, I have different things going on, it makes sense why they're always very caring and loving and understand suffering. Because even though it's not back to slavery like it was before,
generational trauma.
It seriously is. It's in their DNA, and it comes out, and the beautiful music that they make as a result of that suffering, and their spirit that's like, we keep going.
Yeah.
It's like, for me,
that's
as
kind of beautiful
little widow in the corner is inspiring to me. And so that's been something that I'm able to relate with, although my experience is vastly different and I don't come from the same culture. So yeah.
It reminds me of that meme that says, what doesn't kill you won't make you stronger. It will just give you a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms and dark humor. So.
Yes. Yeah. So we hope that wherever you're at, you're doing okay at some point. And if you're not doing okay, that's okay. We understand.
Just keep trotting. That's, keep plodding along, because it changes, and you end up places that you didn't expect to end up, I feel like.
And those who have followed the podcast, they know the early days where Anita's like, I'm not going to get through this. And now she's saying, we had a great Christmas.
Yeah. Except for when my son called my other son an asshole on camera.
Which is pretty funny, but maybe as a mom, not so funny. It's funny to me.
It was funny.
And I find myself going through times where I'm like, when is this going to let up? When? So just being able to hear people's stories or watch others and see that there are ebbs and flows and things can change. That's helpful to all of us. So thanks again for listening. Thanks
and being patient.
Yeah. That's all on me, not on Anita.
Mel, I need to ask for help, though. Can I ask our audience for some assistance?
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited about this. I have a daughter. She is a senior this year, and she's taking a research class. And they had to come up with a research project all on their own. And she decided that she wanted to do a project that explores the effects of parental death on people's education. And so she is looking for kids. Well, she's looking for people whose parent died when they were in school from primary to college age and who are now over 18 to answer some questions in a survey that she's doing. So if you have some kids who are in that category and would be willing to share this survey with them, I'm going to post it in the Widow Wives Club. If you will help her to get some information on that, I think it's so cool when somebody takes their terrible experience and they try and use it to do something good in the world. And I'm proud of her for doing that. And I also promised her, I was like, listen, I got access to some numbers here. So please don't let me down. Please don't make me a liar. Please fill out that information so that she can hopefully get some good data and share it with school systems to try and help kids who have a parent die while they're going through school. It talks about the supports and what was helpful and what was not helpful and what kind of support they did get and what kind of support they wished they got. So yeah, anyway, yes.
Is this 18 and under, or is it college age and under?
So they could be any place in school when their parent died, from primary school to college age, but now they have to be over 18 because otherwise she has to get a ridiculous number of consents filled out from parents. So that's what she's looking for. So doesn't matter how long ago the death was, as long as they're over 18 now. Make sense?
Everybody support Anita and her child.
Yes. And I mean, in turn, I hope that it will support other people who are in our situation at some point in time. So anyway, check that out and fill it out. Thank you. Mwah.
All right. Well, let's try to shoot for having a week. A good week.
A week.
Mine's going to be a week.
It is going to be a week. All right. Good luck to all y'all.
Join the Widow Wives Club. Don't forget, if you want to join Patreon, you can. If you don't, it's okay. But it's patreon.com/WWDN.
And Mel really, really needs some tacos right now. So go to buymeacoffee.com/widowwedonoww. And always, we like a nice rating and review. It really helps. So anything you want to do, we'll take it.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody. We love you. And you can do this, even though you think you can't.
Yeah. All right, 2025. Let's please.
Just here it is. That's it. The end. Okay.
I'm Anita.
I'm Mel.
We're two young widows trying to figure out widow.
We
do.
No.
Welcome to the Patreon shout out. It's me, helper number 3. Barbara Schneeberger, Constance Bell, David, Evelyn Flores, Christine Walt, Kristen Pollack, Maya Glasser, Neil Hooper, Karen Cornell, Alexis King Adello, Amy Hartman Mattel, Ashley Hahn, Becky Loiters, Berkeley, Carolyn Wetton, hi, Chris Steffen, Honey Revenge, Danielle Ketterberg, Dawn Setterwhite, Deborah Nilek, Dennis Brozo, Jen O'Brien, Jenny Armstrong, Jennifer Beal, Jennifer Brown, Karen Lindsay, Karina Jacobo, Leah Johnson, Lou Clausen, Marie Hoffman, M.K. Anderson, Meg Murto, Patricia Weist, Sunshine Haven, Alicia McAllister, Alicia Wynn, hi, Ailey Burke, Ann Drennan, Audrey Henniger, Becky Burnett, hello, Brittany Cruz, Kathy Mazzeta, Christine Anderson, Cindy Reno, Dawn Barber, Debbie Fells, Deborah Westwood, Doris Retchell, Emily Wiesenberg. There's a lot of people on this. Eric Vandeleeuwen, Gabe Lozano, Gia Benoit, Gina Haas, Jackie Hoyle. That's my aunt. Jan Colarusa Seeley, Jane. Hi, Grandma. Janelle Blessing. Hello. Jen Turk, Jennifer Davis, Jennifer Sanders, Jenny Barrow. Hey, I know that girl. Jenny Dippold. Jessica All. Jessica Burke. Jill Hanson Williams. Johanna Jenkins. Hello. Judy Malkin. Karen Ochoa. Carol Schultz. Kathy Murray. Katie Ratcliffe. Katie Saucier. Kevin Ferry. Kimberly Shellady. Kara Benson. Hello. Larry Keeley. Lara C. Linda. Lindsay Kanapa. Marianne Hammond. Marianne McDonald. Melissa Bowers. Mintu McGurn. Hello. Misty Mustein. Naomi Brown. Rachel Tang. Rebecca Olamaker. Rebecca Seba. Robin Flam. Stacy Saywert. Susie Denigan. Tara Tustin. Hello. Trentine Thompson. And New Year's baby Wendy. Thank you all for supporting my mother. And always, what do we do now?
Mel,
Yeah,
we have a major announcement to make.
go for it.
Did you know that right now all plans on Mint Mobile are what?
$15 a month.
Okay, that's truly ridiculous. Do you know how much regular cell phones are?
Yep.
$1 bazillion a month. 15 is less than that.
New customers get 3 months of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month if you sign up right now. And guess what? I use it. I love it. I've used it all over the country, all over the world, and it's great. And if you're wondering about phones, they have those available as well, or you can just port your own number and your current phone over to Mint Mobile. They make it so easy.
So if people are interested in trying out Mint Mobile, how can they go about doing that?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. And you know, it's interesting. When my dad died, we actually put his phone on a Mint Mobile plan because it kept his number going, but it was $15 a month. So there you go. And there's different storage plans, but you might as well just get the unlimited because it's $15 a month.
Absolutely. All right, go try it today.
That's trymintmobile.com/WWDN.